What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another episode of CGX Cast. This is episode 72. We're going to be talking a lot about the cloud gaming news. We're going to cover Amazon Luna, we're going to cover Google Stadia, we're going to cover GeForce Now, and also some of Phil Spencer's awesome, I don't know if you want to call it awesome, but quotes about just gaming as a whole. That's going to be quite interesting to cover. But yeah, that's the agenda for this week. We have two guests today. We have one new guest. Clive has been here before, but this is Lloyd's first time being in the panel. So appreciate you guys both being here today. Lloyd, how you doing today?
Doing okay. A little under the weather. My throat's feeling a little raw. So if I end up hacking and coughing, I'll try to mute my mic. So
Cool. Good to have you in here, Lloyd. And Clive, how are you?
Yeah, good, and it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be good again to get y'all's input on the discussion pieces today. But we're going to introduce the panel and then we'll check in with the viewers and see how you guys are doing. So let's start that off. Duncan, we're going to kick it off with you. How you doing today, sir? What have you been playing and what platform?
Okay, what have I been playing? I've been playing an absolute ton of stuff as per normal. I've jumped into some Fortnite on GFN. I've got access to them on my iPhone now, which I've been having a bit of a go on there. I've got into my simulators. Yes, everybody likes talking about me and my simulators. What else? I've just been playing an absolute stack of stuff. I just play too many games and not actually remember what all I've been playing, but it's just loads of stuff. More Genshin as well.
Yeah, I don't know how you like bounce from games to games to games and like keep track of everything that you are playing. It's pretty impressive, actually.
I don't. That's the whole issue. I just play too many, and I'll just go bang, 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 bang. Oh, and I started up Uncharted today, but that's not cloud. But it's been a lot of fun there. The differences are absolutely class.
Is that the new trilogy that came out remastered or
the remastered for the PlayStation? Yeah, 5. Yeah, absolutely class. The motion or the force feedback on it is absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. Good to see you, Gaming Duncan. Good to have you in the panel. Let's check in with Tail Monkey. How you doing today, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Hi guys. PC. I haven't really cloud gamed much other than testing games. Since I built that PC, I have been, just enjoying some local gaming that I haven't been able to do for quite a while. And it's been a ton of fun. I tell you what, though, Rainbow Six Extraction has took me by surprise. Did not think I was going to like that game at all because, Rainbow Six Siege, the repetitiveness of it just bored me. But the progression that you have in Rainbow Six Extraction keeps making me go back, and every match is different because you can vote to stay with the same team, but that happens few and far between. So you're always on a different team. You've always got different play styles, and for the most part, everyone I've been teaming with has been trying to play the game properly. And a couple of times there's been some new guys in, and I've been on the mic and I've been helping them along with what I know. And I have just been, seriously enjoying that game.
Have you played any solo?
Yes, and the solo is fantastic. Just sneaking around on your own, going up the difficulty levels just to test yourself and see how good or how far you can get. As I really enjoy it. I think it's because I'm getting old now. I don't like PvP so much anymore. So PvE is much better. Yeah. Like Destiny 2 is one I always jump back into. Ignore the PvP because it's just so frustrating because everyone's better at it than me, so I can't enjoy it. Whereas you've got an element of control in the PvE, and look, I've just been really enjoying the game. Played it on PC, also played it on xCloud. My issues with Xbox Cloud Gaming, it's not great. It runs pretty well on GeForce Now as well, although we do have a wee issue there with the 60 frame stream rather than 120 hopefully that gets resolved. We brought it to their attention. Other than that, just Rainbow Six Extraction this week. I've just been enjoying that so much.
Okay, so I know you have, performance issues with Xbox Cloud Gaming. How still with that game for you?
So latency wise, it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
But it's the picture quality and the stream quality is just not on a level that I can enjoy. I play video games to be immersed by every detail, from the style of game to the visuals. I don't want to have to deal with, a really poor picture. It probably doesn't help. I have a 1440p monitor here, and it only goes to, I wouldn't even say it's 1080. It's sometimes it doesn't look 1080 at all. It's just where I'm located. It's just obviously it's not quick enough to get to me, so I don't get the best experience. But hopefully this gets resolved, because they have the content, they just don't have the quality that I can use at full time.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, hopefully that gets better. I know you keep running to that performance issue with the Xbox Cloud Gaming platform. Cool. Good to have you on here, Monkey. Let's check in with Clive. How you doing today, sir? Where have you been playing? What platform?
Yeah, well, Stadia, obviously, and Extraction. I've barely scratched the surface of it though, and for a while, I'm still not even sure how to get into the solo game. So, and then PUBG, which is my old reliable, as I call it. Always pop into that. Always stream that as well, just because it's just a popular thing to stream. But I haven't been gaming as much as I like, and one of the reasons is because my son is so into FIFA.
Ooh.
And he just plays it on, especially the whole doing the card unpacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he spent 30 quid yesterday.
Wow.
on I need the point. I need the FUT, the FUT points, the FUT points. I need them, So he said, and actually a little tip for everybody, like if you buy them in 100-point packs, right, they're about 40 in the UK, about 49p, but it works out cheaper to do that than to buy, say, a £15.99 pack of however many points. The point value is cheaper if you buy. You might have to keep, like I did last night, buy. I had to buy 11 packs, but you end up saving about £5.
There you go.
So it's well worth it if you're going to get your FIFA points. Buy them in the little 100-point packs. Just buy lots of them, and it works out cheaper. Somebody tweeted it out, and I didn't believe it, but we did the maths, and then we did it. The trouble is, I keep getting all these notifications going, "You've just bought FIFA. You just bought FIFA. You just bought FIFA." But yeah, so I haven't got to play as much as I like, because my son is just obsessed with playing. He watches the YouTubers do the unpacking, and then he's sort of mad on it. So, and he does that on Stadia. Because he used to play he plays on the Xbox a lot and on his PC, because he's got my old gaming PC now, so he plays on that. But when FIFA sort of came out, I bought it obviously on Stadia, and he came down to, because his mates were into FIFA, going, "Can I get it on Xbox?" And I said, "I've already got it on Stadia," and he was like, "Oh," But then he played it, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing on Stadia, to be honest. FIFA 22 looks really good, plays really well, and it's never an issue for him. And so he pulls up his chair in front of the big LG one there, and he's off. But what it does mean is, because given my broadband, I can only have one Stadia session. It works perfectly, but it's like I have average 50 megabits per second, which is perfect for Stadia, but only one session of it, if that makes sense. I can't have two sessions of it at the same time. So yeah, he's nicking my Stadia. Bang out of order.
I was gonna say, like, because this is sale right now for FIFA, it's gonna be like, why don't you just buy him his own copy, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It makes sense with the only.
Well, we got family share as well, but he started playing on my account, and then he got so far into it, And I said to him, well, why don't you look, I gave him one of my Premiere editions and set him up in his room with it and everything, and gave it one for his mum's house as well. I said, take that to your mum's house. She won't like it, but it doesn't matter. Play FIFA there. And he said, yeah, but I want everything I've set up is on your account, Dad.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. That's
So
the problem
bummer.
once I get into it. I remember people on Fortnite doing that. How do I transfer my son's account from my account? It's too late, mate.
That's a bummer. Good to have you in here, Clive. Can't wait to get your take on some of the discussion pieces. So we like to save the best for last. So Lloyd, that's you. So let's check in with GTP for a bit. How you doing today, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
I knew that was coming. I've been doing good. A lot like Hell Monkey, I've been really busy with work and prepping for this storm here. So I haven't gotten the game much, and the only gaming I have done is jumping in and out of Extraction. Again, a game I would normally shy away from actually kind of grew on me to where I'm a little bit addicted to it. So that's what I keep jumping back into.
Oh,
Yeah, really enjoying it. When I first started playing it, I hated the mechanic of the MIA operators, the inactive operators, the healing I was like, yeah, no. But then, like 2 hours later, I found myself addicted to healing them and watching them come. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So really got me by surprise. Really enjoying that game, and I've been playing it anywhere that I can, whether it's Luna, Stadia, xCloud, on my console locally, whatever. Wherever I happen to be, it's run pretty well for me everywhere, so I can just jump in. That's what I love about cross save. Like, I want every game to have cross save, or what Clive was just talking about. I want games to be able to transfer account. Like you start something somewhere and decide you want it somewhere else. It would be nice to be able to do that, but cross save is a big deal for me, and so that's been great for Extraction to jump in everywhere.
man, you guys are making me want to go back and play Extraction, man. I played it for a little bit, but took a break. But it seems like everyone here is playing it.
I mean, it's no game of the year, and it's not going to be everybody's thing. But if it catches you, it catches you, and it definitely has its audience. It's definitely got me by surprise.
That's awesome. Good to have you in here, GTP. And again, the best for last, Lloyd. How you doing, Sarah? Tell the people where you've been playing and what platform.
Awesome, doing fantastic. I've actually been playing a fair bit of stuff. I had a long running addiction of achievements and trophies. So did that on Xbox for a while, did that on PlayStation for a while, and I kind of haven't done it for cloud gaming at all. I was just like, I just want to beat the game. I don't care about this other junk. But for some reason, I've gotten back into achievement hunting. So I've been going through all my old Stadia games, cleaning up achievements, doing all that fun stuff. It's been actually a lot of fun revisiting old titles.
Nice.
New stuff that I've been playing: Rainbow Six Extraction. Love the hell out of that game. I should have loved Siege. I don't, for whatever reason. Siege just wasn't my game. So I wasn't sure if I would like Extraction, but the whole PvE thing and having to be stealthy, but then also having to sprint across the map to make an early escape, there's just something super addictive about it. So I've been playing that on Stadia and also on GeForce Now. Both perform equally as well, which is great. So I was kind of worried there'd be a rough port in there somewhere, and it seems like all the versions that I've had access to have all been performing really, really well, which is great. But the older stuff that I've been digging through, not super old, completed Chorus, 100% of that. What a fantastic game. If you like flight sims, and then you like flight sims with magic, that is kind of what Chorus was. And it's some of my favorite flying mechanics in any modern video games. The ship that you're in, you never get out of the ship to control your character, and when you're in the ship, it controls almost like a first-person shooter. Obviously without the left and right strafe, because that does like rolls and things like that. But you can go hit forward on the left stick, and then you can start flying after people, and you never really get lost. Like, I've played a lot of other flight sims, and you tend to kind of get lost in the controls a little bit. They did something really special. And of course, when you can just hit a button and jump behind the enemy that you're chasing, that kind of makes easy mode kind of turn on for that game. So that's been good. Serious Sam 4, played through that whole game in like 8 hours. It's so fantastic. If you like old school first person shooters, that's been great. And I guess the last thing that I've really been playing over the last couple days is Immortals Phoenix Rising, trying to get into the DLC, which I have never played. I own it, and it was sitting there in my menu, and I just never clicked the damn icons. So I've been going through some of that stuff, and that's been a lot of fun. I really like Immortals. It's equal parts Breath of the Wild, equal parts Assassin's Creed, and for some reason it just works. So I really hope that we get a sequel to that one, because it was a really, really fun title, and it's been really great going back through some of that stuff.
That's awesome, man. It's pretty cool to see you gaming. And you just mentioned Chorus, a game
Yeah.
I totally spaced out about. Got to get back to that.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's
so
good.
you
It's
beat
really
it.
good. Yeah, there was like kind of the first game I was like, okay, I'm gonna 100% this. I'm gonna get all the achievements.
Wow.
So I finished the story, and then you have to go play through some of the other stuff, and I just really, really loved it. Like all the side quests, a lot of them are samey. It's kind of like MMO style thing. Go get 3 things over here, but instead it's go kill 3 things over here.
Yeah.
So that can drag a little bit, but the story, the how you kind of your powers emerge, and you get to be like this unstoppable killing machine for space dogfights, was just such a great thing. And you can beat it in like 12 hours if you're just mainlining the story, or if you do everything, it's 20-25 hours. So it's not a crazy extensive game, which is really nice. They're not trying to get you to spend 120 hours in their game, wasting all of your gaming time for a month.
True. That's awesome. And the story, would you say, is worth playing through? Like, does it have a good story?
Yeah, I liked it. I
Okay.
know a lot of people were really annoyed with the kind of whispering to herself thing. Her
Mhm.
inner monologue, the voice actress is kind of whispering lines here and there, and I heard a lot of people when this game came out that it really started grating on them. I
Mm.
like it. It's about this religious thing in space that is both I don't know, bringing the universe together and also damaging the universe. So it's kind of a really cool story rather, how they kind of take known sci-fi tropes and kind of twist it a little bit with some other stuff. So yeah, I really dug it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Got to go back to playing that, man. So thanks. It's cool. Lloyd, good to have you in here.
Yeah,
And
nice to be here.
excited. Yeah, excited to get your input for the discussion pieces for sure. So I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake still on Shadow PC, and I don't know if you guys have been watching the Odin handheld videos, but been testing that a lot, and I am really impressed. You know, some people were asking, what is the Nintendo Switch device for cloud gaming? And a lot of people are saying it's going to be the Steam Deck. I do think for the price, the Steam Deck is going to be make an impact in cloud gaming as a whole. But this device, being Android based, being $199, is a really good device for cloud gaming. So check it out. A lot of people are covering it right now, but yeah, Odin is really cool. But yeah, that's what I've been testing and playing for this week. So let's take a second to say what's up to the viewers. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this is a good show and we'll keep you guys entertained. To start, Ray, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. Ninja Guy X, good to see you too. I see you on here too, Lloyd. Dr. Spaceman, good to see you. Case Balls, good to see you. Tugbag, good to see you as well. Victor, good to see you. Sherman Gaming, shout outs to you. If you guys didn't watch the previous 2 podcasts, he was our guest on here as well. So good to see you in here, Sherman. I said, what's up to Ray? Monkey, I see you in the chat. Well, scrolling down, 4K 120, good to see you. Calm, good to see you. Let's see. Make sure I got Octavia, good to see you here as well. I don't know how to say your name, I apologize, but good to see you here. GTP, I see you. And Kyle, I see you. Mr. Urban World, I see you. And your mom knows, Anthony, I see you. Happy, I see you. Yanto, good to see you. Michael, good to see you. All right, so let's kick this off. We have some good stuff to talk about, right? So as you guys know, at the beginning of the month, Amazon Luna gives us, I would say end of the month, beginning of a new month, they give us like a roadmap of to what to expect for the platform, right? So they give us the February roadmap, and we have 2 games being released or announced for that platform for the whole month of February. But they did say stay close to the Twitter account because more announcements are going to be made. Now, I don't know if that means we're going to see more games come into Luna in the month of February, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. So the games are The Medium, which is coming to the Luna Plus channel, and we have a game called Have Ho. I hope I'm not butchering that name, but that should be coming to the family channel. So those are the 2 games that Amazon announced that is coming to Luna for the month of February. So just want to check in with the panel and see what y'all's thoughts are about this game coming to Luna, and see just as a whole, what's your thoughts on just Luna recently. And we'll just, for the viewers watching, at the end of this, we're gonna have like a little discussion piece with I call it the Phil Spencer quote, area, where we'll break that down and see how it's gonna impact cloud gaming as a whole. But I'm gonna talk about Luna specifically there, so stay tuned to that. But just gonna again check in with the panel members and see what your thoughts are about Luna, again, these 2 games for the month of February. So we'll start with Clive. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I look at Heap Ho there from Devolver Digital. It's sort of a bit of a Pikuniku kind of style to it there. So it's sort of a low key, interesting game, maybe a bit of human fall flat, bridge building type kind of 2D physics type thing going on. It nothing kind of particularly special. I think the more, the big thing for them obviously is the Medium, which is a great game, I think, to have on the in the collection. I think any platform would be happy to have that. If that came to Stadia, everybody be a bit like can't think what it's called now, but yeah, if that came to Stadia, everybody would be like pretty chuffed. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people would be chuffed to bits with the Medium. So I think that's a great title for Luna to to have. But I think Luna are just slowly adding to their collection as they have done and as they will do. I don't think there'll be any epic moments or anything coming along. I think it's a slow build, and I think you've seen it with Stadia. I know everybody wants things to happen a lot quicker, but I think if history teaches it anything, it'll just be more of the same. I hate to disappoint it, and I think it's the same with Luna. Just continual drip feed of games, building out that library, so that when they're in a position to expand, because we're still only US only, really, Luna, isn't it? So when they're ready to expand, hopefully they've got a decent library. And it's good, as we said, to have the diversity. One is for the Luna Plus and one is for the family channel again. So they're just expanding that diversity, and in the same way we see with Stadia, it's sort of a little bit of something for everyone. They're very different types of games. One man's Medium is loads of people might not like that much, prefer Heave Ho, and it's good to have that variety. So yeah, they continue just to add to their collection, bring a bit of diversity. But I think Medium is I think the Luna is a big title to have on the. It's a recognizable title. That's the thing. People might go, oh, I think I've seen that somewhere. That's the sort of title,
right,
that sort of moves heads a little bit. So yeah, good for them.
Cool. Just talking about Medium, the Medium, wasn't that like a next generation game, right? And so for Luna to get it, what does that say about like how powerful the platform is in the cloud? It's quite interesting. So for those of you guys who are answering, try to throw that in there. I want to see what your take is on just the game being a next generation game, and Luna getting that as well. So Clive, do you have anything to add to Luna, that game being a next generation game?
No, well, I think Luna is perfectly capable of playing a reasonably powerful game as other platforms. It's sort of standard. So I think it's good to see, and that because ultimately that's you want a few showcase games in there that demonstrate this is a worthwhile decision or can bring you the majority of games. Because, you know, even really powerful PC games, if they're going to make any money, they have to work on medium level PCs. You know, you can't sort of spec yourself out of the market, you know, really. So as long as the platform that you've got can play, you know, 99.9% of all games, then that's the base starting place, isn't it? So it's good to see that, you know, if you're looking around at platforms, that you see titles that you might know are, you know, are CPU heavy or graphically heavy, and they play on that platform. It's a good advert for the platform, isn't it? That it sort of shows that it's up to a certain standard. So yeah, that's why. So I continue to say, that's what I say, that I think it's a good get for Luna. I think it's you know, it would be good to have on Stadia. So
Sure. Thanks for that, Clive. How about you, GTP? What's your take on these two games coming to the Luna platform for the month of February?
Yeah, I mean, Luna's been pretty slow, so I didn't anticipate a lot for February. I do have to add a couple surprises, though. It just adds value to each Is it doing it again?
Yeah, it was, but you can now. Go ahead.
Make sure, because Streamlabs is going crazy on mine for some reason, and it could be the storm here. So
keep going.
But if you can hear me fine, but just stop me if it messes up, and
All right.
we'll work on it. But yeah, good stuff for adding value to.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, it's out. Do someone. I'll come back.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll check in with Lloyd, and we'll get back to you, GTP. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, I mean, both of these are decent games for different people. Heave Ho looked at this a lot when it dropped on Nintendo Switch, and it's a fun looking game. It's kind of like 2D Human Fall Flat, so it's more laughter than fun. I think when you're playing this with a group of people, you're more just making stupid mistakes, which basically have you falling on the ground laughing, which is great. And having this for kind of the younger players and the families that may check out Luna because they bought a new Amazon TV or something, having games like this on the platform is really, really great. As for the medium, not a game that I've played. I've looked at it a few times. It's, as you said, next gen Ace. So it's Xbox Series and PS5, but it also has a PC port. So I can assume that you could play this game pretty potato PC and it would still be performant. Maybe won't look as amazing as it does on the PlayStation 5. So I would assume that they're using lower specs than, say, the PS5 on Luna for the game. Maybe not, but the fact that it's running, that's pretty darn awesome. This is a good get for the platform, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't have $500 for a new console, but really love kind of third-person psychological horror games, and they're like, I really want to play this game. Oh, I could just jump on a Luna and play through my TV or a web browser. So this is a really good get for the platform. But yeah, only having two announced so far for February makes you wonder if there's going to be any more drops near the end or middle of the month. But again, Luna is not something that I follow too closely since it's not available in Canada. So I hear about these things and I'm like, that's cool. Maybe someday.
True. Good take on that, Lloyd. Thanks. How about you, Duncan? What's your take on these two games coming to Luna for the month of February?
Yeah, you stole my point. I was going to be really hammering home regarding the medium. That is in current gen or next gen, whatever way you want to talk about that. That is an absolute good thing to have. That is showing that the hardware is in the right sort of space for looking forward, that they can get next gen, current gen sort of titles. The other game looks the medium coming it's decent enough. People are want to play that. I find it boring as hell. But Hell Monkey, do you agree? So I'm not IMEO? Yes.
It was boring?
It was boring, yeah. It was very, very slow paced, and it was like nothing really for me. But I know a lot of people like it, and people really like the routine who make the game. So again, horses for courses, but we're going to be coming on to that later. But if you look at the bigger picture, this is a good get for Luna. So it's only 2 games coming is a disappointment. I think we really need to get more games there pushing out, just to get people excited and things like that. But it's more games into the library. The library's expanding out. Games haven't left yet, so it's okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you for that, Duncan. Let's get to Hellmonkey. We're still waiting for GTP to get back. But Hellmonkey, what's your take on these two games coming for the month of February?
Yeah, none of them interest me personally. Just like what Duncan said, the medium was it was too slow, and the story didn't immerse me enough. So that got put to one side very quickly. I'm disappointed in Luna. I know they're still in beta, and right now they're just filling out the library. But we're past January. We're past the slow start to the year. There's a lot of good games coming in February. A lot of good games coming. Even to take a look at some of the lesser known indie games that you'll see that's going to be coming to Steam and Epic, for instance. And for them only to announce 2 games at the beginning of the month, it doesn't sit nice with me. I kind of feel if they're going for that subscription, and you know what Amazon's going to do, they're going to drop this everywhere when they feel the time's right. Whether they bundle it in with Prime, etc., for a limited time, but we'll wait and see. I kind of feel they need some more modern games to cover the full range of gamers that they could get to, because cloud gaming is, by the week, it's growing in popularity. Everyone's becoming more aware about it, more educated, shall we say. We see teams like Digital Foundry starting to pick up and create more videos surrounding cloud gaming. So that's when that it's starting to go a bit further into the mainstream. So I'm disappointed that it's only 2 games. The medium's a good game. It's everywhere else. I actually already thought it was on Luna when it was announced. So nothing. It doesn't inspire me with great confidence. And we just got to wait and see what's going to happen with Luna. They're playing it too slow for my liking, but I am a very impatient person, so that's just me.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, I'm looking at the library here, guys, and something to take into consideration, right, is that this is only $5.99, right? But look
It's not
at
going to be.
all. It might be free for your Prime member. Think about that too. Just saying though, but look at all these games that you get for that price point. This is, again, the medium is 1 game for the month of February. I do think someone's saying on here at the end of the month they are going to beef it up, but just think, you got Judgment here. This is the remastered Judgment we're talking about, right?
Yes, I think the issue is if you just look at the panel here, the majority of the panel here don't have access to it.
That's true.
And I think as the weeks go on, it just gets more and more frustrating. I think it's absolutely outstanding value for that. We have the amount of games, and I think if we had access to it, we would be raving about it even more. It's just frustrating just seeing all them games, not being able to play them. It's just hard to actually put your head into it because you don't actually have it in front of you. Because if you've got that in front of you, I would be flicking between a load of them games because you know what I'm like. I am a shiny person. That game looks good. I'm going to play that for 5 minutes, sort of thing. I think that's the issue for me at the moment.
No, that makes a lot of sense for sure. It's true. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say my issue there, and when I look through the Luna library, is I don't see anything in there that's going to pull me to try Luna out with testing games for this channel and checking out performance. That's the only reason that I'll ever be in there right now as it stands, because the games that are just on the Luna Plus channel, there's nothing there that I haven't already played if I wanted to, and nothing else that I'm going to try because I could already have tried it elsewhere. The games all I see there have all been on sale in Steam, so if I really wanted them, I would have picked them up there. I would have played them in Game Pass. A lot of them were on Game Pass as well. That's my issue with Luna. I don't see them taking anyone else's customers.
Okay. I I think I get what you're saying there. None of the games entice you from the Luna Plus channel, but again, we're talking about like, you know, $5.99 service here, right? That
But I think it
when
feels like a site, like like you say. I imagine in the way that Luna will probably, Amazon will probably promote it, like an add-on
yeah,
to, as you say, to your Prime package or whatever it is, and then rather than their main focus, it's a sort of, oh, and by the, you can watch the movies, watch movies, watch TV shows, and play a selection of games. It's a nice overall package, but
Yeah.
as a standalone thing, I don't think it's very necessarily. Doesn't, I agree with Homer. It's not that compelling.
yeah,
You've either played all the games. There's very rarely anything new, like in terms of day and date new. So it feels like an add-on service to an existing entertainment pack, as it were. And I think probably, I mean, again, I don't know, but I imagine that's how Amazon will probably, sell it. It's just another product that they, make available or sell, as it were, and it's there. It will be form some sort of overall sort of entertainment pack, and that's probably, I think, the way they're going to probably market it. To their existing customers who buy, watch TV and play film, but also want a game. It's that sort of thing.
yeah, true. Again, this is still new, and yeah, I get the frustration, Duncan, you were saying with this not being available to most people, but I think they're slowly building on this. But let's get to go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, that for me, when this comes, I will be subscribing to it.
Okay.
There is a load of games in there, even in that family channel there. There's a couple of cracking games. That Pictocrest is right up my alley. That's a game I would be playing on my lunch times and stuff like that as a chill out game. I know my game taste gets made fun of all the time. There is a couple of cracking wee titles in there which will get overlooked. It's unfortunately, it's a subscription. You know what you're going to get, and we'll have to wait until Amazon's first party start pushing their stuff out there as well.
Yeah, I also think more channels coming, right? Again, this is just a family channel. If you go to the Ubisoft Plus channel, right? I mean, sky's the limit with this platform. They can just continue to add channels upon channels upon channels. And
I think you're right. I think that's the interesting bit about Luna.
yeah,
Like, imagine if Ubisoft and that's why Ubisoft is there. That Ubisoft pioneering these things. They want to be on the front foot when it comes to cloud. Hence their relationship with Stadia, their relationship with Amazon and Luna. But you can quite easily see the way that Amazon are creating this and using Ubisoft Plus here is to be able to go to EA. Hey, EA, why didn't you put EA Plus on there?
right.
Take-Two, why didn't you have a channel on here? I mean, that's clearly what they're kind of angling at, and I think that's the real interesting element for Amazon, is to be able to provide a platform for these publisher channels.
Yep.
I think that's the interesting aspect.
Yeah,
That's what they've been doing with their Prime Video.
video.
When Prime just launched, or it was just streaming shows, and you could grab the TV shows, grab the movies, and that's it. But if you go to Prime Video now, there's a couple dozen different streaming services that you can add on. Amazon's all about services. They want people to pay them subscription fees monthly, and they want that subscription fee monthly to keep going up by little bits here and there. So having people on Prime Video sign up for, I want, I don't know, global TV, I want this movie package, I want this streaming channel. They're going to do the exact same thing with this. The base package will be included with Prime, and then there'll be all these add-ons so that you can eventually start paying Amazon $100 a month is what they would love to have, like your cable provider, right? So they're slowly moving in that direction.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So GTP, how's your sound doing? Are you back?
It was, and then it got weird. So I don't know. You tell me.
It sounds good. Go for it now.
So the storm here is playing havoc with the internet, and my 1 gig up and down has been reduced to 1 to 5 megabits per second.
Oof.
So I've cut out the camera to try, to try to maintain and at least just get the voice. So, but if it goes out, let me know and I'll just disappear. We're good.
Yeah, no, you sound good for now.
But,
Go ahead.
yeah, but Luna, man, I mean, I've been a fan of Luna really since they came out. They don't quite have a direction just yet, but I do think eventually offering their Luna Plus channel as part of Prime or keeping a low price if you're part of Prime and then it eventually gets raised is probably what would happen. And I've always said I like the differences in all the gaming platforms. I don't want Luna to match what Stadia does or what xCloud does or anybody else. I like the idea of many different channels that I could eventually just drop and pick up at will and just play the games I want to when I want to on the fly. So I think it does have a pretty good future, but we don't quite see it yet. We don't know what Amazon's going to do. Another interesting factor will be if they start to play their first party hand more. If they're exclusives, if they have more games come out and they start landing their exclusives there, that could wind up meaning a lot for the service as well. Right. Really excited to check out the Medium on there. It wasn't a big surprise. It's on xCloud. It's on GeForce Now. It's been on PC. It was a next-gen console exclusive. So it kind of made sense that it eventually made its way there.
True.
It reminds me a bit of Control, actually, in the way that, like, Control's a bit of a whore in terms of its like with like on every platform,
everywhere.
Yeah.
But so I think it was Lloyd who was talking about like the channels when you come to Prime Video, right? So here it is, and imagine like if this is the take that Luna end up being taken to where you'll see EA, Capcom, even Game Pass. Some people laugh at that, but Microsoft has said, whoever is willing pretty much to accept Game Pass, like they're ready in a way to put it there. So again, they might be competitive because again, they said, Amazon, Google's are their biggest competitors, but who knows, maybe down the line, we can get a Game Pass channel as well for Amazon Luna. But yeah, I do see this being the approach that Luna takes in the end, and man, that can be a killer deal for this platform. But yeah, anyone else for Luna and these two games coming to the platform for the month of February? That's it. Cool. All right, so we're gonna hop on to the next thing that we have here, and that is GeForce Now, right? So GeForce Now, if you guys let me just exit it. GeForce Now give us their Thursday blog. Just exit this, and we got some games coming. We got some features again. They're staying here. Members with the 2.037 update, you can now do something called upscaling. So again, this is for, it seems like mostly for Windows, right? So if you have Android and trying to use this feature, you can do it. But most people are getting this update, and I think we've covered it here in GTP. I don't know if you have, but yeah, to where you can actually upscale. I personally haven't been that impressed by this feature. Seeing Xbox Cloud Gaming upscale on PC, I think it does it better than this, but to each their own. I know other people are really enjoying this, but my experience with it hasn't been the greatest. So they give us that, and then they give us some games that released for this platform this week. Again, we have Mortal Online 2, we have Demonix Machina, we have Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition, we have Tropico 6 and Assassin's Creed 3 Deluxe Edition. So those are the games that came out for GFN this week and that feature. So we'll check in with the panel and see what y'all's take is on the GFN news, and also LG TVs are getting some GFN love too. So we'll start with Monkey. What's your take on the GFN news with these games coming to the platform, this upscaling feature, and some LG love?
Monkey is not there.
Okay, we'll start with you then, Duncan.
No, I shouldn't have said anything then. Why did I say stuff?
Well, thank you, Duncan. We'll start with you then.
Oh, jeez. Oh, dear. I think the upscaling, I've played about within a bit. I think it's dead on. It's working well for me. On my 4K screen, it's upscaling and it looks absolutely class.
Yep.
I'm actually shocked they haven't actually looked at behind RTX, which I thought they might do because they do some things like that now and again. So I think that is absolutely brilliant piece of news out there. I know you're not too impressed with it, but it's working well for me. With the games, I'm going to shock you here, yes. I don't think it's for me. The games this week are not that great in my space. Mortal Online 2 is maybe the biggest one there. It's the MMORPG. It's got about 10,000 people playing that at the moment in time. For people who are watching and listening, Tropicana, that's what I'm calling it, 6. I would not buy that. I would just hold off, and that I think that is nailed on being an Epic free game later on this year. So you can buy it now in the Epic sale with your coupon and off like that. But for me, I would hold fire on that until the end of the. Just hold fire because I think it's going to come free.
Have you played the game though? Is it good? Would you recommend it at all?
Which game?
Tropico 6.
It's a city builder, so yes, it's up my sort of wheelhouse there.
Okay.
But I'm not going to buy it. I'm waiting for it to be free on Epic because I am skinflint and don't like spending money.
Okay. Thanks for that, Duncan. How about you, Clive? What's your take on the GFN news for this week?
Well, I think it's really interesting. Everybody's in terms of cloud gaming. You know, I think people judge everybody with the same brush, and the reality is everybody's in it for different reasons. And you know what do NVIDIA do? They make graphics cards.
Yep.
They found an avenue to basically, if you can't sell stuff, then rent it. To basically rent out graphics cards. That's effectively what they're doing. Their business is building graphics cards, improving graphics cards, whether the hardware or the software. That's what their business is all about. And so they've created a business model in which they can do that. So it's no surprise to see, for me to see them when they upgraded, the offering on with GeForce Now a few months ago, and to see them offering upscaling like this. I think it's really great. I think it's exciting, but it's what I would expect from NVIDIA, because that's their business. Their business is graphic cards, and the GeForce Now, and plus, they've obviously got the nous to see the future is cloud gaming, and like all the platforms, they're all trying to think how does our business model fit in with the future? And as the main provider of graphics cards for PC gamers or whatever, they've obviously thought, how do we fit our business model into the future? And they're, to be honest, I think they're doing a cracking job. And the LG thing, I thought I was like surprised when I read it, because I just thought, well, actually, I thought they were like a week before the Stadia app, about a week or so before the Stadia app launched, that LG announced that they were launching the NVIDIA app. So it must have been beta, though, judging by this, because I thought it was already released. But the version that they released was like the Stadia app. It was the web OS adapted version, because there was a version before which was hopeless. I tried it, it didn't. It was just a waste of time. It was like just getting a random Android app on your LG TV. It was just a pointless exercise. But as soon as the GeForce app, the web OS version of the GeForce app in beta form, albeit, came out, I fired it up, and it had been designed for the LG. And as with the Stadia app, it works, it looks good. In terms of the user interface, it looks very clean and sharp. And I never got around to playing it because obviously I only have a free account, and I have a short attention span. And after waiting 5 minutes to play a game of Apex and not getting in the queue, I think my kids called me to, I don't know, they were probably on fire or something. So I got distracted, and then I came back, and I'd missed my window and it had gone idle. And having, for the last 2 years, just sort of had instant gaming. That's always been an issue for me personally. You know, I'm a console gamer at heart, and you know, I just want to plug something in and it, you know, traditionally, and it works. I'm not a PC gamer in where I'll go, oh look, I'll just fiddle with this bit back, or have I got the right graphics card and all that kind of stuff, or I'll just sign into this account and then, you know. And I think if PC gamers love all that, great, knock yourself out. But that's what puts me off a little bit with GeForce Now, even though there's no argument about it looks amazing, and the kind of upgraded, the priority version, you know, everybody raves about it, and Digital Foundry and everything. I think it's great. I think it's, and what particularly I like about it is it's pushing the others to improve. It's setting the standards. You know, people say, oh, that's it, they've overtaken Stadia, it's game over. No, this is a long race, and people will edge. If you want to see it simplistically as a race, people will edge ahead here, edge ahead there, and you know, and this is good. This is good for consumers. You know, I think if people are raising, you know, the barrier and offering, you know, what's our USP, you know, everybody's trying to find their USP and find their comfort zone, find their groove. And I think, you know, GeForce Now, they know what their business model is. It's showcasing their graphics cards. And I think, you know, the fact that you've got this upscaling with selecting, you know, NVIDIA GPUs and stuff like that, I think it's great. So good stuff. The games, I have a weird relationship with the GeForce Now games, and people sort of saying, oh, they're releasing this to their platform. I kind of find there's something about, and it's the pedant in me, that it's not like Xbox releasing a game to the Xbox platform, or even Stadia releasing a game to the Stadia platform. GeForce Now is a glorified PC in the sky, and in principle, every PC game should be available to play. And obviously, when it was first in beta form, that's how it was. And then, of course, as soon as they went official, and publishers were in that kind of stage in this nascent business, going, wait a minute, there's money in these hills, and why aren't we seeing any of it? And GeForce are selling themselves off the back of our games, and we haven't quite worked out what the business model is. And you see that in all industry, where a new nascent business model comes out, the IP owners are a bit kind of wary. So we know historically that, as I say, when it was in beta test, virtually every PC game was available to play on this virtual PC in the sky that you couldn't control. Like, you couldn't download stuff to it, but you could play these games. So to me, part of it, when we say, oh, they're releasing the game to the platform, all they're doing is that they sort of managed to somehow agree with the publisher, or the publishers deemed that they'll let the game go on the platform. It's that kind of thing, because there's no real conversion work to do it. And it's just a bit weird to me that GeForce have this sort of, have to go through this rigmarole of coming up with some sort of deal with each publisher to get to, you know, to allow the game on, because the game, it's literally a flick of the switch and the game could be on there. And so, yeah, so it's just a bit weird. And so, yeah, there's nothing, I'm kind of with Duncan, there's nothing that really jumps out at me. I think the Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition, I'm a massive fan of the Metro Exodus. It's one of my favorite games. I think it looks incredible. And so the Enhanced Edition, I think, is a great game to showcase. We were talking about, you know, Medium on Luna. I think Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition is exactly what the GeForce Priority range, or the upscaling, you know, needs to be able to showcase what it can do. So I think of those games, I think for me, Metro Exodus is a really interesting game to kind of check out if you've got the GeForce Priority and just crank everything up to 11. I think it'd be a really good game to check out.
True. Thanks for that, Clive. Let's check in with Lloyd. What's your take on the GFN news this week, with the games releasing and the feature and LG TV support?
Yeah, it's a pretty big week for GFN. It's been a pretty big year, and tail end of last year as well. The what is it? The upscaling thing. That is great. I've been using their upscaling on their Shield TV Pro for a year and a half, and it can take any 1080p stream and make it look close to a 4K stream. It's pretty amazing tech. So to have that same stuff come on your PC, if you have a specific GeForce or NVIDIA GPU, but even the free stuff that is just done in browser is pretty good. The basic enhancement is pretty decent, and it can discern fine details where there really shouldn't be fine details. It's pretty amazing what they've been doing. And this is kind of the way to go. Like you capitalize on the best hardware in the industry, and then you capitalize on software work that you've been doing for 5 years, and take that AI stuff that you've been working on for self-driving cars and all the other crazy AI work that NVIDIA is doing as a company, and then you take products that still exist and you give them more life just by adding this other functionality to it. Pretty amazing. So even if you have kind of the base tier, you could play this on your TV and it's going to look pretty darn awesome, which is pretty great. So that upscaling stuff is really great. Of course, the whole LG news. It seems like that is the next battleground, is getting your icons front and center on any new TV that comes out. Stadia is doing it. NVIDIA is obviously doing it, and I'm sure Luna is going to do that. Although they make their own TVs now, so they kind of cheated a little bit. They went to the front of the line by doing it that way. Right. But that's great. My TV should have that app on it because of the model year was it's the year after the whatever 2019 or whatever the cutoff. I can't remember what the cutoff is. But the actual first version of that TV was older. It was a year older. So for some reason, my TV's in this weird limbo where I don't get the app to test out, which is making me kind of sad, which makes me kind of want to buy a new TV. So maybe that will be the thing that I do. That'll be the thing I do. So it's great to see that type of stuff. And then, of course, the games that they're adding. Daemon X Machina is a fantastic game from the Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Just crazy, fun, amazing game. And to be able to play it for free, not only get the game for free through Epic because of their free game of the month or free game of the week, but then able to play it for free in the cloud, it's pretty crazy. So do check that one out if you have access to it. Metro is a fantastic franchise. Being able to play the game with all the graphics turned up to 11 on GeForce 3080, if you have it, is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Tropico is a great game. I'm not too familiar with Mortal Online, just because MMOs really aren't my thing too much. And then Assassin's Creed 3. I mean, that's kind of where Assassin's Creed kind of took over and really kind of had the cult status. The 1 and 2 were great. People were like, oh, just checking things off of your menu and your map. But then 3 came out and really kind of changed the game. So all great games, but like you said, Clive, it's not the same as bringing a game to another platform, because a developer doesn't have to recompile the game for it to be on GFN. They just have to enable it, and there has to be some sort of agreement worked out. So getting great games like this is expected these days. It's not such a huge, oh my God, they got this game on GFN, because hey, they should have every single game on GFN. So hopefully the game release announcements come more hot and heavy as we get into the year, because I do think GFN, this is their game to kind of take the lead in right now. They have the hardware, they have the software, they have the good PR, they have people online are talking about it and loving it. I think it's going to be GFN neck and neck with Xbox for the next little bit to outperform each other from a hardware and software standpoint, to kind of take the lead. And of course, Luna, Stadia, and all the other ones, they have a lot of catch up to do to kind of equal the video fidelity and the games and all that other stuff. So yeah, GFN keeping things interesting, and it's really giving a lot of competition for the other people to kind of keep up with. So it'll be interesting to see where the whole industry goes in 2022, because of people like GeForce Now really kind of pushing the envelope.
True. Good point. GTP, how you doing, sir? How's that mic for you?
Let's hope.
Okay.
I've watched you guys go all black screen so many times while sitting here with my internet. It'll dip down to like 0.5, and then we jump back up to 950, and then we're back down to 0.5. But anyways, let me know if it gets messed up. As far as the games for GFN, there's not, I'll agree with Duncan here. There's not a lot for me on here, but to hit on more of what Clive was saying, Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition is an amazing version of Metro Exodus. It takes an already amazing game and makes it look that much better.
Sorry, dude. That mic again.
I'm watching it happen. I'm watching it happen. This
Man,
is
sorry,
ridiculous
dude.
today with this.
My bad. That's a bummer. I know you wanted to give a lot of in like you put in here, but the mic just continues to act up. Do you want to try and do you have another mic you can try to switch
It's not
out?
the mic, it's the
It's the
internet.
internet?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the snowstorm. Yeah.
Okay. Bummer. All right, let's move to Monkey. Sorry, GTP. I feel so bad because I know how bad you want to get in here. But
It's all good. It happens, man.
Yeah, my bad. All right, so Monkey, fill us in, man. Thoughts on the GFN news for this week?
Pretty solid. It's a final week before we'll get the February games list, which I'm hoping is going to be a lot more, a lot fuller than the January one. The upscaling features are, very clever, and when I see it come to light and I see it coming, I sort of wonder why they hadn't done it before. Their GPUs are in 50%, if not more, of people's PCs and laptops and whatnot. So really good. I've tested it out. I'm in a weird situation now where 1080p doesn't look great on this monitor, so it just any 1080p on this monitor I have is very blurry. So I tested it out with an old laptop, dropped down to 720, upscaled it to 1080, and there was hardly a difference. In the quality, you had to look very closely to grab the difference with this new feature. So good. It means that more people can use the service. You're saving in the bandwidth. Superb, absolutely fantastic. Just a quick point on the TV app. I tried it when it first came to LG in beta because I have the 4K one there, and it was dreadful. But I was running it on Wi-Fi, and after I did some digging, and me and Clive actually had a small conversation about this on Twitter as well. The TVs don't specify exactly which Wi-Fi card is in them. They're very quiet on that front, which means basically it's not good. It's it's not worth mentioning, so they try and hide it away from you. If your TV doesn't specify which Wi-Fi card it's using, go Ethernet connection, and the difference in quality is night and day. Just a heads up to everyone on that. That's what happened for me. The games, yeah, like Lloyd said, Daemon X Machina is a superb game.
You've played it?
It's so fun, yeah.
Nice.
I've got it on Steam and now have it in Epic as well, so I could check out in GeForce Now. So, yeah, just a superb game. Mortal Online 2 is one that is coming in for mixed reviews. The mixed reviews are mainly because it's a subscription-based game. So when you pay for it, the £27 or whatever it is on Steam right now, that only gets you 1 month's access. You then have to keep up a subscription after that. That's putting a lot of people off. But my Chiefs are checking out just now, and the graphics are tremendous. They look superb. It has some potential, but people don't want to jump in because it's a subscription. They don't want to pay 30 quid to play for a month. They would rather pay £50 and have the game forever. So that's just a worry with that game. The rest of the games, the enhanced edition of Metro was supposed to be here last year, never came because of the software. I needed to update it. It's finally here. It looks fantastic. You can't deny that. Probably the best implementation of ray tracing in a game to date. There's There's not many better than it. It's just so smooth. You can have ray tracing on full. You still get the best quality, whereas in other more modern games, even still now, if you have ray tracing on, you might need to dip your other graphical settings to keep the frame rate that you want and do all that tinkering. That's not the case with Metro Exodus. It's just a really well put together game. And it's a solid week. I'm just really excited to see what GeForce Now bring this month in terms of the rest of the game releases that are coming up. We know the big ones are coming. We know Dying Light 2 is coming. Are we going to see Elden Ring? Are we going to see Lost Ark? Will we see Grid Legends? These are some very popular franchises that my fingers are crossed that we see on the list next week, because there will be complaints if they aren't there. And I'll be the first to complain.
Yeah, Dying Light 2 is coming though. We know that.
Yeah, no,
right?
we know that's coming, but
Okay.
I mean, like Grid Legends, Lost Ark, Elden Ring. God, there's so many more coming as well. There's a couple of really good indie games coming up. Like really good quality indie games graphically coming up for Steam as well. SCP Pandemic is one that sort of resembles a Rainbow Six sort of 9 to 5 sort of theme. So fingers crossed that I see these games, and hopefully more Hulk's games as well, and then he'll come back on the show.
So Duncan, I'm kind of confused. You said this week is not good with game selection, and I think again this week, not the best week, but it's been better than some of the weeks that you liked, where they gave us 3 simulators and no AAA games. And here we have Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition. We have Assassin's Creed 3. We have Demon X Machina.
So, and you just go for the headlines. You just go. Let's have a look at this here. We'll do a little search. Let's do a little search on Steam here, shall we?
My goodness!
No, you're the one going back.
Dude. Come on, dude.
Metro Exodus, there's 1,800 people playing that. And if you go on to that, Mortal Online 2, there's 4 times as many people playing on that. You just see the big names. You go, this is a AAA game. This is more important. And then these simulators and games you think are absolute jokes of a game have so much of a higher player base on Steam. You get fixated on AAA games and games to show off.
So let me ask you this: are you mad that Tropico 6 is not your type of simulator?
No, I think it's dead on. And you're pigeonholing me into simulators. Yes, I like my simulator games. I like my city builder games, but I am very varied in my selection. I do not have to let go. This is a banger of a game because it's all got all the shinies on it and all the fancy graphics. For me, this is a Mia sort of week. We'll go an older game, and that your older banger in your case with Metro there. Again, I think it was. I said it was, for me, it was weaker than it was. It was still an okay sort of week, but games are really strange on PC, and you just don't know what is going on. PC is PC, and I will hark back to this as well. Guardians of the Galaxy only had 10,000 concurrents on that, and then my stupid simulator games, as you call them, have a higher concurrent base.
I get that. I know PC gamers, it's sometimes not about the bangers, right? But again, this is GFN, GeForce Now, NVIDIA. I would go as far as to say the makers of one of the most powerful graphics card, and they just put one of the most powerful graphics card in the cloud, right? So I get it. The PC market is different than the console market, right? Indie goes a long way, all this stuff, but dude, the bangers are important as well as the the indies, man. And I think if you go in the forums, the games that people have been requesting are not indie games. They want Battlefield, they want Call of Duty. So this list right here, a lot of people in the forums have been happy with it, right? I'm just saying. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Everybody is different.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But I think if I love this is what I love with your content you go put out there. I can nail you with this every single week. You say that.
Again,
Go watch your video.
that was Smart Chief, man. That was not me. That was all my Chief. That was Smart Chief. Anywho, that's so much.
What's the most popular games on Steam, and are they available on GFN? And yes, they are. And it's not your big bagger games.
So for once, I will not call this a week. In the last, I believe, a month or two, GFN, they have not been giving us, the type of games they give us close to the release of the RTX 3080. But this is good. I like this week. Not the best, but decent. But yeah, the upscaling feature is good. I think being able to see that in the apps, right? The Android app will be awesome. Same thing with Xbox Cloud Gaming. They have that again. If you download the Edge Canary browser on Windows, you can do a feature called it's not called upscaling, but it's similar. There we go. I would love to see these upscaling, and it's a work in progress. Again, cloud gaming is still new, but I cannot wait to where, we don't have to rely on these beta or these limited edition of upscaling, where it's just like incorporating apps and you can do it anywhere. I see that being something that happens, but it's a good start. It's a good start. But yeah, LG TVs, I think is pretty cool that they're, trying to get the apps and TVs, and hopefully that's what we see more in 2022 going forward. Most TVs now, again, will have these apps, and yeah, it wouldn't be something we'll be asking about. Like
the TV companies know that when buying a TV, it used to be when buying a TV, are you a sports watcher, or are you a big film movie? But they know now, the people buying TVs, that gaming, especially, with the current gen, the PS5, Xbox Series X, whatever, or, being able to play 120 frames per second or whatever, and having, low latency on your TV, lag on your TV itself and everything becomes a real major key decision in your buying decision.
Right.
And that's why, you see it with TCL, you see it with LG, especially really pushing for that sort of person who, has an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 and likes playing games, because playing games on your TV is a massive part of why you have a TV. And that's why we're seeing LG, Samsung, and then the fact that, cloud gaming is a nascent industry is sort of it's a perfect storm,
Right.
for smart TVs who are going for that gaming market. So then you've got the ability to cloud game. Brilliant. Now you just need to put the app on our TVs, and then people will buy our TVs because it's one of the factors. Oh, look, we've not only have AI, because LG has AI upscaling, picture upscaling, and it does, I have to be honest, it does an amazing job. I think it looks really good. I play Stadia on it, and I used to love the Chromecast with Google TV, and that's how I played my Stadia. But as soon as I started playing the LG, the Stadia version of the LG on the LG, that's all I play it through now, because their apps, they're smart, not just gaming apps, but they're, Netflix, YouTube, they're sort of tuned for the TV, LG specifically, and the Stadia app is tuned specifically for the LG TV, and it just looks really, really good. And the same with GeForce, from what I've seen. So I've not played and I've got through to a game, but certainly when I fired it up initially, it looked really good. The picture AI processing on the LG makes the games look really, really good.
True. Thanks for that. Duncan, you were going to say something?
I'm just going to say something. I
Yeah.
think we haven't touched on the big Nvidia news of the week, which I think could have some ramifications down the line with them not getting ARM. I'll be interested to see how they react with that, because they're going to have some money burning in their pocket now. So just a wee bit of money. I'm just going to see what is going to be going on there, because that could have some ramifications down the line. And I hate using this term because it is getting used so much. Nvidia is going down. Hell Monkey, can you kick me from the chat when I say it? They are in the metaverse game. They are developing the metaverse. I forget the name, but they're calling it now the Omniverse, I think it is. I think that is something we're going to have to keep an eye on with Nvidia.
But it's different what Nvidia is doing with Omniverse.
I know.
That's catered towards professional people that can work as a team on all four corners of the globe. Yeah. This isn't this gaming metaverse, which if one more person mentions it, I'm kicking them out of the chat.
That's the metaverse is where tech is headed, man.
Just give me the games.
It's true.
And leave the rest of that out. Give me the games in the best possible way to play the games, and take the rest of it so far away from me as possible, and just leave this industry alone. It's doing fine the way it is. It's overtook everything in the last years. We probably all went from getting teased for enjoying video games and Pokemon cards and all that when we were younger. Now, us as enthusiasts, our industry is on top of the world. Just leave it, man. No one wants a metaverse.
Lloyd, since we have you in here, actually, I want to get your take on that. What's your take on the metaverse? Do you see that like being a big impact when it comes to just tech and even the cloud gaming and so?
Yeah, I can remember when the web was new and you had WML, which was a way to have 3D objects embedded in a web browser, and everyone's like, "This is going to change the world. You're going to be going down virtual floors of a shopping center to buy all your stuff in the metaverse."
Yeah,
and then that disappeared, and then now Web 3.0 with NFTs and crypto, and it seems like there's solutions in search of problems right now is kind of what the industry is doing. It's like, oh my god, we've sold the amount of widgets that we can possibly ever sell. Let's invent virtual widgets and resell them to people, which is kind of what's happening. So I mean, the metaverse is going to be huge once we can strap on VR AR headsets and virtually go somewhere. That's going to be huge. The technology isn't there yet. We've had metaverse for many years. It started out as MUDs back on in the early days of the internet, where you'd have a server running on one box in the internet somewhere, which would virtually connect to another box, and you could go from one server to another across the world. That was the kind of start of the metaverse, and it's kind of progressed further and further and further. What Meta is doing right now, which I hate saying because Facebook is evil, but whatever. What Meta's doing now is no different than what Second Life has been doing forever, or what PlayStation Home did a while ago. What every MMO has tried to do, especially when they're about to close down. They like having everybody joins one server and they see the comets and the meteors raining from heaven to blow up the server for one last time. So they like it. I think the closest thing we have to a metaverse right now is Fortnite, because you can go into the same world with Tony Stark and Spider-Man and the alien from Terminator 2 and Back to the Future, back bling, and carrying around a Ghostbusters ghost trap. I mean, that's
and watch a concert.
And watch a concert or whatever, right?
So true.
So I get why companies are interested in this one, but they're throwing so much good money at a problem that doesn't exist yet. Give us the technology that needs the metaverse, and then the metaverse will naturally develop. So yeah, like you said, Duncan, they had billions of dollars earmarked for a company that are no longer going to be spent there. So maybe they can just throw a bunch of money at buying Ubisoft or some other company, and that will be their metaverse expansion. Will be every Ubisoft game will come together. Like what was it, Assassin's Creed Infinite or whatever. They wanted to have one master game where you could go into assassinations from Assassin's Creed 3 or Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and you can kind of do it from the same world. I think that will be the next Ubisoft's metaverse will be something like that. So yeah, it's so weird. I started in the internet stuff before images were part of the HTML spec, so it was just text-based stuff. So I'm seeing all these new announcements, which are just like old announcements, but they have a nicer coat of paint on them and maybe some chrome accents instead of just wood paneling on them as they used to. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the metaverse, but it's going to be interesting to watch all the pundits and prognosticators get out in front of this and then be horribly wrong at the end of the day.
True. Good point. Good point. Thanks for that, Lloyd. All right, so let's kick into gear a little bit. We don't have a lot of time, so we still have 2 platforms to cover. Let's talk about Google Stadia. As you guys know, they give us their weekly Tuesday, let's say bi-weekly Tuesday.
Fortnightly. Fortnightly.
Okay, thank you. But we got our Stadia Pro games. Curious to know what y'all's take is on those games. I'll list them here in a bit, but we also got some games released this week, right? One being Fast and Furious Spy Races, Rise of the Shifter. And there was another game I'm trying to find.
Troll Hunter.
There we go. Thank you for that. I'm not seeing that on the blog. Anyway, let's move to the pro games, right? So we have Cosmetic Star Heroine, we have Fogs, we have Merrick's Market, we have Nanotail, we have One Hand Clappin', we have Life is Strange, which was a game that got delayed, but it's pretty cool to see it making its way now as a pro game. And then we have Life is Strange, Before the Storm also. So let me count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pro games releasing for the week of February. That's a lot. I think that's a record of the most pro games.
It takes it to as well that there are 50 over. I think there will be 50 over 50 or 50 pro games in the pro library, which is the most there's ever been to claim in one go. And in fact, if you're canny and you subscribe now, I think you could probably get about 52 games come February, whatever, if you time your subscription right. But yeah, I think that's it is good to see them get up. I thought they might make it to 50 just before Christmas. There's been an incremental rise in the library, so it's good to see that they've got to 50 now.
Yeah, impressive. And we got more news, right? It doesn't stop there. So MotoGP 21. I think this is a big deal because early in the show, I believe a couple of episodes ago, we talked about them not getting sequels and how, that's not a good look for them. So MotoGP was a game that came to the platform, but then we didn't hear about 21 for quite a bit. So to know that is actually launching on Google Stadia, I think is a big kudos to them. And then I would say the biggest news is Rainbow Six Extraction, a game that a lot of you guys love here and been playing a lot. It's getting a free-to-play treatment, which is a game that just released. And what a good way, again, to reel some people in to Google Stadia. So again, good stuff all around, I would say, for this platform for this week. But let's check in with the panel members and see how the Stadia news was. So we'll start with, let's say, GTP, can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. How we
good.
going? All right.
You sound good. Let's try this.
Sorry, guys. I know how annoying it is to be that guy, man. That,
You're good.
Keeps having to do that. So apologies, but no. Actually, I really like the blog this week for Stadia.
Yeah.
Just when I was gonna give the pro subscription a little hiatus for a little bit, I realized that we were getting the Life is Strange remasters. So yeah, I'm gonna hang in for that because I do want to check those out on there. MotoGP 21. That's good and all, but I wanted it it last year when I was going to purchase it, so I bought it on PC instead. Otherwise, I would have got it on Stadia because I had GTP 20 on Stadia. So that was a bummer for me last year. Great that it came though, and anyone that's like just on Stadia that hasn't played anywhere else, you can finally get in on the new version. I'm curious to see what happens with 22 in 3 or 4 months, because that's around the corner, and I'll be looking to purchase that. So we'll see what happens with that. One thing I love about Extraction is the free buddy pass. So you can invite up to 2 friends for free to come play. And then, of course, they've got the free play on Stadia. I really like Rainbow Extraction being on Stadia. I love the free play, and I love the buddy pass idea. And the fact that that game came with 60 FPS. You guys know me, can't do anything in 30 FPS in the cloud for me. So that's been a big difference for me. I love that Ubisoft brought that with 60 FPS. So all in all, I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I would say I did the video covering 60 on there. The graphics, it doesn't take a big hit at 60. You know, again, they have 2 different mode, performance and quality, and I was really impressed. I thought, you know, we'll get like a significant quality drop, but it's not too bad.
Well, they've been good about dropping resolution more than just graphics quality, and that's, you know, and with decent upscaling, that's what I'd rather see, a bit of drop in resolution, keep the quality a little bit higher, and then just upscale that for us. And I think they did a decent job with it there. The 60 still has a little bit of stutter for me here and there, but ultimately Extraction played well. So
okay, cool. Thanks for that, GTP. How about you, Clive? What's your take on the Stadia blog for this week?
Yeah, I think it's a good blog, but I kind of see a bit of a pattern because to me, you know, last year we had the sort of one of the first big titles of the year was Hitman 3.
Yeah.
And it came to Stadia. Then in February, Stadia got day on date, but in Pro, Little Nightmares 2, when everyone else had to sort of buy it. And so that was a big win. And so then I look at this year, okay, the big first, arguably one of the first big games of the year was Rainbow Extraction, comes to Stadia, and then in February, what do we get? We get the Life is Strange remastered collection in Stadia Pro, day and date when everyone else has to buy it. So I see a similar pattern to what last year, and we sort of had, and it was a sort of slowish sort of, you know, first few weeks. So I think it's quite good. Although the interesting thing, of course, which means the reason we got 7 titles is that, and part of me is kind of curious whether any titles have been pushed out slightly, because one, it is a lot. 7 in Pro is a lot. But Life is Strange, of course, was meant to come in October in Pro. So part of me wonders, with Life is Strange being sort of transposed now to February, if that hadn't happened, would we be just seeing these 5 titles, and would they be enough? Because normally you get one biggish title and then a handful of indie titles. That's usually the shape of things, and that's what we're getting here, you know. And I think overall it's really good. But I'm curious whether they had anything else lined up for February that then got pushed out slightly, and they replaced it with Life is Strange, or the reality was we were only going to get 5 games in February. So it's just something that plays in my mind about it. But there's also loads of stuff that's not in here that we know that's coming up in the next week or so, or the next couple of weeks. So you've got, oh my god, my brain's gone dead. But the Kingdom, what's it called?
Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yes, it. Dynasty. We've got Dynasty Warriors coming, which is really good. We've got World War Z, which is due. You know, could be March, might drop. I think there might be some other outright games that we might see. So I think there's still some activity. Well, we know there's some other activity still in, coming in February, but I think there might be some other stuff as well. But there's been a bit of buzz around Life is Strange. A lot of people talking about Life is Strange. It's a BAFTA award-winning game. It's because it's a story narrative. In a way, you want the graphics to be pretty good anyway, and to look good. So I think it's certainly a good week for Stadia overall when you take in consideration. We're getting some new games arrived on the platform. You've got a good pro announcement set. One of them is Life is Strange, which is a day and date release straight into pro. Pro's never been so big. The thing about Stadia is every month, it's the best it's ever been, if that makes sense. So anybody new, I always say to people, forget the history, right? Forget, it doesn't matter. Anybody new coming to Stadia, or if Stadia ever get round to deciding to launch in other territories, it's quite a compelling offer. Because if you're brand new to Stadia, if you don't know anything about Stadia, you are presented with over 200 games in the library, 50 games when you sign up to Stadia Pro, straight out the bat, if that's what you choose to do. That's quite a compelling offer right now. And then in March, it'll be even better. And then just on the MotoGP thing, I think I'm really glad that it's come, because a lot of people have used the fact that there've been quite a few what we call in TV land non-returners. And I don't think that it's not a good look. I don't think it's the end of the platform or anything, but it's never a good look when you've got things that don't return. But what it does stick out a little bit like a sore thumb, because it says MotoGP 21. And we're in 2022. So I think that's a bit unfortunate. And in a way, when we had FIFA 21, so obviously the FIFAs are always a year ahead anyway, sequentially. So we had FIFA 21 in sort of January, February or something like that. And then eventually, obviously, day and date, we got February 22. So we had two FIFAs in the same year. I'm wondering whether there was a reason behind the lag or delay. And does that mean that because we got Moto GP 21, as GTP said, are we going to get, probably closer to the date, Moto GP 22, or you're going to see another gap? I think, I'd like to think that you get like a FIFA situation where they sort of catch up with themselves. I don't know. I mean, we don't know why there was that delay, but the positive thing is that it's a returner that's, the sequels come, albeit it does feel a bit late, but it's good to see. But overall, I think it's a good week. And I think we've got some nice titles coming up in the next few weeks as well, just to keep that momentum. So hopefully Stadia can continue. But I think overall, as I said before, I think there's similarities to last year. And to be honest, I think we're probably going to get more of the same Stadia wise as we did last year. I don't think it's going to be anything amazing or blow people out. And I know some people aren't going to be very satisfied with that, but it's continual growth. And as I say, every month Stadia is the best it's ever been. That's just the way that it's growing. So yeah, I think it's a good week, a good blog post.
Cool. Thanks for that, Clive. Let's check in with Duncan. What's he taking the Stadia news this week?
Thank you for letting me to go after Clive there, because Clive, I was going to make that point, and I'm glad a pro-Stadian person made the point which I was going to make regarding Life is Strange. I think next month is going to be a teller with that one because of Life is Strange slipping. But overall, for me, these pro games are not for me. 100% not for me. Yes, this is where we differ. When you go on the GFN and you say it's a week, no matter what, it's a week. For me, this is a week month of pro games. However, I can see the bigger picture here and say this is actually a pretty decent month for Stadia Pro. And there's one simple reason for that. Life is Strange is actually getting people to resub to Stadia Pro. And I think that is an absolutely great thing to do. You bring the right games, people will sub. So I'm absolutely glad that people are excited for Stadia Pro this month. And this is the first time I can remember in a long time where there's actually been a bit of buzz about Stadia Pro. We've seen some articles about it and things like that. And my Twitter has been getting people who respond and saying, I'm going to resub to Stadia Pro because of this month. absolutely brilliant to see. With the returning of MotoGP, I think it's an absolute laugh, to be completely honest with you. A game is coming back. Your yearly franchise is coming back 2 months before the next year's version. That has to be I'm really surprised that's not a Stadia Pro game, to be honest with you.
Why do you think that is happening, though? Do you... Go ahead.
I haven't a clue why that's happening. If it was a Stadia Pro game, I would have said, yeah, class. That game is going to have to be priced really, really cheap for people to pick up. If that comes in even 30, 40 quid or $30, $40, people are just going to go, not a mission. I just don't understand that. But it is really good to see one of these non-returnals come back, as Clive is calling it. My worry for Stadia for next month, even though this is a good month for Stadia, is next month is absolutely bonkers in the gaming space. We have so many games coming out on a weekly basis, which are absolute massive games. Like next week, we're going to be dominating a lot of this talk with Dan Like 2 on GFN, and then there's Elden. I've actually wrote this down a couple of days ago. It's going to be absolutely massive. So we've got Uncharted yesterday, we've got Dying Light, we've got Lost Ark, we've got Horizon, we've got Grid, a non-returner, Elden Ring, Shadow Warrior, Gran Turismo, WWE, Stranger of Paradise, a Final Fantasy Origin, a Final Fantasy game not coming back, Tiny Tina, a Borderlands game not coming out, and then GTA getting for the current gen titles. This is an absolutely bonkers sort of phase, and even though this is a good month for Stadia Pro, I think it's just going to be completely overlooked, because if we're just in, you really think it's the end of the year because of all these big titles coming bang 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 bang. So it's good. There's steady progress there. I'm just worried it's just going to be overlooked.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that, Duncan. How about you, Hell Monkey? What's your take on the Stadia blog for this week?
It's good to have 7 pro games. It's a good number. You hope that there's something there for everyone. The only game in there that would interest me would be Cosmic Star Heroine. I'm not big in Life is Strange, but I understand the draw of that game. And as Duncan said, people are coming back to Pro because for $9.99, $8.99, depending on where you are, you're getting 2 brand new games, basically. You know, they've been remastered for the current generation, which is good. The games that came this week, I hate to say it.
How do you feel?
They look like mobile games, but most kids' games do. So that's probably unfair. It doesn't interest me, but it will interest someone. I'm looking forward to Dynasty Warriors 9. It's not a widely renowned franchise, but it's a very long-running franchise with a very sort of loyal user base. That user base is mainly on PC though, so maybe Stadia can steal some users from there. And then, like Duncan said, I hope the return of MotoGP coming at this time means the next installment is going to come up, because those games usually release April, so April, May time, and it's not too far away now. I can't really add anything else to it. The 50 games is up in Pro. That's fantastic. We've got a tracker on our website if anyone wants to take a look at that, which keeps up to date with all the Pro games. And the one thing I would mention, just in case anyone didn't see it in the blog, Dirt 5 and MotoGP 20 are leaving. So if you want to get in on them, sub just now and grab them if you're looking for Life is Strange, and get yourself an extra couple of games if you don't have them already. So can't really add anything to it. It's an okay month for me, but I'm not going to be jumping back in for any of those games personally.
Okay, thank you for that, Monkey. How about you, Lloyd? What's your take on the Stadia blog for this week?
Yeah, I think the blog is pretty good. This month's pro games are fantastic. They hit a lot of different parts of the gaming industry. You have a JRPG, retro style JRPG with Cosmic Star Heroine. A lot of people are going to like that. Nanotale is I think it's the sequel to Epistory, or spiritual sequel to Epistory. So kind of a typing game. You have Merrick's Market, which is a time management game, and Fogs, which is, if you haven't played Fogs with someone, it has a one controller mode. So you play couch co-op and you each use one half of the controller. And I played with my daughter and I did a stream, and it was probably one of the most fun streams I've ever done. It is ridiculous. So don't write it off because it looks like something you'd see on Nickelodeon. It's actually a really fun co-op game if you have someone to local co-op with. One hand clapping, not a game I'm probably ever going to play personally, but I know there's a lot of people that are excited about checking it out because they didn't want to pick it up when it was available on the store. So those games are all great for a bunch of different types of gamers. Life is Strange, on the other hand, fantastic that we're getting it for free. To buy the remastered collection on PC up here, I think it's like $55 Canadian, something like that. I know if you bought the deluxe version of True Colors, you could get this for free on other platforms. That wasn't something on Stadia. So you sign up for Pro this month, maybe the first time you've ever played on Google Stadia, and you can immediately claim 1/4 of the whole entire Stadia library to play, which is kind of just blows me away that is a thing that you can actually do. That is great. And then you get to play 2 amazing remasters of 2 fantastic titles, Life is Strange and its prequel, Before the Storm. I can't wait to dig into those ones. Playing through True Colors and Wavelengths, top, like really high up in my game of the year list for last year. Fantastic title, and it'll be good to play these remasters. And then the other things, getting more outright games with Fast and Furious and the Troll Masters, or Troll whatever, Troll Hunters is the name. It's great. I'm surprised actually that there isn't another outright game in the pro titles for February, because it seems like they have another like dozen games on the platform that are ripe to be added down the road. But getting new ones is great. Having Chromebooks in almost all the classrooms, or people doing remote learning, and then them be able to jump into Stadia and play these new games, not on their Xbox, not on their Nintendo Switch, but play them on Stadia, is going to be super exciting for a lot of people. And then the rest of the news, MotoGP coming back is great. I'm kind of with everybody else on the panel. I'm surprised that this isn't launching right into Pro, especially since it comes out on February 1st, and with the sequel coming out a short few months later. It seems really odd, but it's good to see it. And I would probably chalk up to its lack of launching initially just because of COVID and porting. We've seen so many studios that have issues getting games out, like Life is Strange remasters, for example. They're launching on February 1st on every single platform except for Nintendo Switch, because they couldn't get that one out in time, and that's going to be delayed months, up to 6 months or whatever. So I still think there's a lot of development issues because of COVID and remote work and all that. And unfortunately, what that means is that these smaller platforms get pushed out further because there's not the value there. There's not enough money coming in to validate using some of your crunch time to get that stuff out. So good to see MotoGP back. It'll be interesting to see what other games come over the next little bit. But as you said, Duncan, 2022 is crazy. All the games that were supposed to come out in October, November are now coming out in February, March. So the whole industry as a whole is going to be overloaded with fantastic titles. It'll be interesting to see what happens on all the different cloud gaming platforms. But this is the first real big, huge, exciting blog post from Google. So hopefully we get a lot more of these. I still don't like that they're dropping to every 2 weeks, but if we keep getting good posts like this every 2 weeks, maybe I can live with it for a little while.
It's interesting they miss stuff off all the time, though. That's what's curious.
It is really weird, right?
We know that Dynasty Warriors is coming out. Why wasn't that mentioned with the demo of Rainbow Six Extraction? You know, that was sort of discovered organically, but as far as I could see on Twitter, you know, people go, "Oh, well, there's a demo," you know, which is like absolutely awesome. Not only is it a great game, it's a multi-platform game, so you can play with your mates, you know, on any platform. Not only that, you get a buddy pass, so you get a 2-hour demo, you get buddy passes. It's multi-platform. This, and you know, Stadia have talked about making demos being a great way to sort of push the platform and market that platform. And you know, a multi-platform game like Rainbow Six Extraction is the perfect demo to have, I think. And yet, you know, they didn't mention the demo in the blog post. So it's just, you know, it just seems a bit odd that there always seems to be some sort of bits that are missing that we kind of find out through other means.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Clive was saying there. I'm just going to shout out Chaka, the social media person for Stadia. I think she's in the process of leaving Twitter, or she's cutting back Twitter. I'm just thinking anybody going out attacking when we're criticizing things about this blog post, like what Clive has just done. We're not saying it to any individual. We're just talking very general and the whole sort of thing. So basically, I think Chaka has done an absolutely amazing job since she has taken over as social media manager, because I know there's been a lot of fuss about that over the last couple of days. I think the Twitter account has went up leaps and bounds since she's joined there.
Yeah, it's definitely a marked difference from when she joined. I agree.
True. All right. Thanks for that, Clive, and thanks for that, Lloyd. So my take on this, again, I think is good. When I get Stadia Pro, I mostly do it for the 4K because I have a Chromecast and on my TVs, and I think for me that's the perk of having Stadia Pro. So any additional game I get for Pro, it's like, thank you. You know, like, I like it. So Life is Strange, as you guys know, I talk about it here. Just beat the newest one about a month ago and really enjoyed my time with it. I still think the first one's one of the best Life is Strange. And so the fact that we're getting this, the remastered, for free on Google Stadia, is a big deal. Right. So again, the other games I'm probably not going to touch. What I do is I claim it. My kids, they just have a field day with those games. But as far as Life is Strange, 1 and Before the Storm, they games I'm really excited. Now, the 2 games that were released this week, not my favorites. I tested out Fast and Furious. When I heard about this, I got really excited. But I tested it out. I was like, this feels like a mobile game. This is for the price tag. Just like, this is not for me, right? But then again, you guys talking heavily about Rainbow Six Extraction and them having it here as a free-to-play title. Oh, I believe a week after release. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that, but I think that is a huge deal. For people to be able to just test this out, see if they like it, and make the purchase. So shout outs to them. MotoGP, not a big fan of the racer, but again, I think it's good that we're seeing a sequel. Yes, it's late, I get it, but it's good. We're seeing a sequel come to this platform as well. So overall, they give us a lot in this blog, and moving forward, I think it'll be pretty cool if they can continue doing this the way I think this is what, the 3rd or 4th bi-weekly blog that's packed with a lot of information like this. So again, I like this. It gives people a lot to look into for the Google Stadia platform. So overall, I would say this was a good week for Stadia. But anyone else before we move on to Phil Spencer's quotes? All right. So here we go. So if you guys haven't been following this whole acquisition with Microsoft and Bethesda, I think it's really interesting. There was, I don't know if this was an interview or just him talking, but he states that, again, earlier he said that he doesn't view right? Mike, he doesn't view Sony and Nintendo as the biggest competitors. And now, just a recent article that states that again, he's eyeing Google, he's eyeing Amazon and Facebook as their competitors. And one of the reasons why they made this acquisition for Activision is that they want Microsoft to be known as a gaming company. So I'm gonna shed more light on this article and post it up so you guys can see it. But for the panel members, I posted this on the show notes for you guys to read. So I just want to talk to you guys and see, what does this mean? What do you think Phil Spencer and Microsoft was trying to do here with the Activision acquiring Activision? Do you think that, first of all, they were scared of their competitors, or do you think that they did it to kind of make a statement that we're here, right? We want to be number one top dog in gaming, and we're gonna put our money where our money where with what we're saying. So I'm just gonna open this up to you guys in the panel. You guys let me know what your thoughts are. So to get started, go ahead.
I was just going to say, can I get in first on this?
Go for it.
I think it was a perfect time to buy Activision Blizzard with everything that's going on in the background. It's been well documented. So even though it cost them the best part of $70 billion, it would have probably cost them more if they tried to purchase them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, because they sell a lot of games, and it's not just Activision, it's Blizzard and it's King as well. Just on the front about competition, yeah, they do see Amazon and Google, etc., as competition, but this is in the grander scheme of things. This includes Microsoft as well, not just. I think what he means is it includes Microsoft as well, not just Xbox, because they talked about how Amazon have shopping, Facebook have the kind of social media, Google's got search and Chrome, but he also talked about not just the fact that they could disrupt the gaming industry, how they could potentially damage the gaming industry as well. The language is very key. Yes, he does see them as competitors, but at the same time, they also see those companies as companies that could damage the industry as a whole, because he goes on to say that Valve, Sony, and Nintendo won't do anything to damage the industry.
Can I ask something about that? What do you mean? When does it damage the industry? What do you think it means by that?
I think he means disrupt. What we mean in true disruption, i.e., the gaming, the business model for gaming has been the same for 30 years, right? It's been the same. You know what you do? You build a box, you sell a box, you sell people they could sell games on your box, which is in everybody's house, and they pay you a license on each disc they sell. That's been the business model. And I work in the TV industry, and traditional and the TV industry in the last has been around like 50, 70 years, and the model has been basically the same for 50 to 70 years. It's not really changed. Technology comes along, but it's basically been the same. And if you work for a commercial broadcaster, you were advertising, and that was always the same. And then the internet came along and it changed where advertisers put their money. That disrupted it. But when Netflix came along and then grew in popularity, and then Amazon Prime, and then Disney Plus, whatever, it has fundamentally changed the business model of television and the way that you do television and film and stuff like that. And some big industry players have had an existential crisis because of how rapid the change in that model has. And if you don't change and adapt, you don't get on then you will get left behind. as the business model changes. And I think what he's getting at is that not only is the business model under threat, or their traditional gaming business model is under threat, i.e. we've talked about it in lots of people talk about in different podcasts, but this idea that you need to somehow make a decision, especially in the console gaming, that as consumers we need to make a £500 decision. Are we a PlayStation person because I'm making a £500 investment for that, or am I an Xbox? I'm making a £500, and when you pay that £500, that adds an element of loyalty to that, and you're kind of stuck in that. Whereas now, we talked about it here, Duncan mentioned it about how, if Amazon Luna comes here, there's some games on that. I'd like to play some of the, potentially the Yakuza games on that, if that came here. Although equally, I could play it on the, if I got an Xbox Games Pass, I could have played it on there. But when the decision is £7.99 a month, £5.99 a month, we already see it in TV land. I've got, well, I don't know how many subscriptions I've got, but I've got my Disney Plus, I've got my Amazon, I've got my Netflix, and it gives me the choices. So I'm not having to make that big outlay. I'm just giving myself options. And I think that disruption to the idea of having to sell a £500 box, which was the focus of Sony and the focus of Microsoft, changes things rapidly. So I think that's partly what they mean. And each player coming in has a different reason why they want to get into gaming. I mentioned it before, whether it's Nvidia going, well, wait a minute, if the cloud is the future, why is nobody's going to be buying super powerful gaming PCs, and our market share might drop down? I know, why don't we rent out our graphics cards? What a brilliant idea. Great. Amazon are thinking, well, we're already selling entertainment packages and gaming is a big part of that. Let's add that to our kind of area, and we can use our consumer base to sort of push that out. And so it's sort of each person entering this kind of market, which is going to be massive and is massive, is coming to it for different reasons and bringing different skill sets, which is different from the tradition. And that's, I think, where he kind of thinks that there's a disruption. And just to add one last thing is that there was an interview with Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, a couple of years ago. This was 2 years ago or something like that. And he was asked, who do you think your biggest threat is? Is it Amazon Prime? Is it Disney Plus, whatever? And he said, no, it's Fortnite. and you kind of like, well, that's a bit weird. That? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And the reasons he's talking, and I've mentioned it before on my my podcast, is gaming in its popularity, and Hellmonkey, touched on it, used to be like you almost embarrassed to say you're a gamer like 10, 20, 15 years ago. But now it's the same way LG and Samsung are going after gaming. It's the norm. And so it becomes an entertainment choice. And especially when you have smart apps on your TV. Oh, I'm a bit bored. What shall I do? Shall I watch that new Korean drama on Netflix? That's me personally. Or do I? Oh, I know. I'll play a game instead. And it becomes, who's going to get my eyeballs? Who's going to get my attention? And it's not just a simple choice of, it's TV and film. It's like, I could game for 2 hours. I could watch a film for 2 hours. I could watch TV, binge watch a series. And so that's where the competition is. It's how do you get people in your, I'm not going to say it, but in your universe, and staying in your universe, whatever that universe is, whether it's a gaming unit, whether it's the Xbox environment, whether it's the PlayStation environment, whether it's the Amazon environment, or whatever. It's or Netflix environment, how do we get people into our environment? And it doesn't matter whether it's via games, film, TV, whatever. It's how do you get them into our world and not leave our world? And that's the disruption, I think, that he's talking about. That's how I look at it.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Clive there, because I hate to bring it up, but remember last year, the Bethesda acquisition was mentioned for part of Stadia's reason and shutting down the SG&E and going, the third party sort of route. that's the sort of disruption and competition they see. So it's a win-win for Microsoft. They were told for years they didn't have enough first-party games. So they went out, got the shoulders out, bought Bethesda. Now they're going to acquire Activision, two of the biggest players. That now means that Google, Amazon, and no one else can get their hands on them now. And it puts them in a stronger position going forward. And I think some of the disruption as well, Clive was absolutely spot on. Why further down the road, why are you going to pay £500 for a box that you can get possibly the same content on for X amount a month, direct to your TV, whichever, all your devices? It's going to be really interesting to see what acquisitions come down the line as well. There's a big call for Sony to buy studios, but I really don't see that needing to be the case because they could probably go on forever on their first party games alone because they are that good, that loyalty that Clive speaks about. That's why people go back to PlayStation all the time, because their first party games are the absolute best you can get.
Good point. Anyone else want to add to that? Lord, I see you shaking your head. What's
Yeah.
your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like this whole purchase of Activision Blizzard, I think it's done mainly because of Netflix, but not in the way that most people think that it is being done because of Netflix. One of the biggest issues that Netflix is having right now is keeping the back catalog on their service. So you have The Office leaves Netflix, and all of a sudden everyone's like, where the heck do I get The Office? That's all I watch. Oh, it's on this other service. I'm going to switch over to this other service. So Microsoft going and flexing their $70 billion muscles, saying, I'm buying two of the biggest companies in gaming in one purchase. Activision has been around since the Atari. So we have all this back catalog of video games. You can get your Atari 2600 version of River Raid, and then your PlayStation 1 version of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and your PlayStation 3 version of Skylanders, and all these other back catalog games, all running on virtual machines in Microsoft Azure. And every single game from Microsoft, from Blizzard, from Activision, from ZeniMax, from id Software, or in the future could be part of what Microsoft is seeing as the future of gaming, one service to rule them all, the Netflix of gaming, if you would want to say it that way. So this is just them shoring up content for their service. Plus, obviously, Call of Duty, biggest franchise in video gaming, makes more than the movie industry. Just that one game sometimes in its past releases has made more than the entire film industry worldwide. Like, it's ridiculous amounts of money. That is something, of course, that they want to have. But it's more all this content that they're going to have on their streaming service that no one else will have. All these mainstays of gaming that no one else will have. I could see in the future Microsoft buying Sega, Microsoft buying other smaller third-party developers. They're never going to buy the Nintendos. They're never going to buy the Sonys, because that's going to all of a sudden get the government involved with all sorts of monopoly concerns and things like that. But if they could buy up all this back catalog from all these other platforms, or all these other publishers rather, and never ever have to worry about publisher X comes out with the next Fortnite, and all of a sudden the price for all their back catalog stuff is gone up by 300%. Microsoft doesn't have to worry about that anymore. They're going to have thousands of games on their service potentially, and then they can now give people the option. Do you want to play Call of Duty? Well, you can buy a $500 console and an $80 version of the game, or you can just buy the $500 console and subscribe to the service and get these 500 games immediately through Game Pass. And that they're waging wars on all the different war zones right now because of Call of Duty. I chose that pun, which is really bad, but anyway, that's what it is. They have their feet in all these different wars, and they're playing the long game across the whole entire gaming industry. So I think that's the main reason why they purchased this, was back catalog and the future of their streaming library. The whole comment about damaging the industry is exactly that. They don't want someone to come in. They don't want Apple to come in and say, okay, this is the future of gaming. And then everybody says, oh, I have an Apple device, I'm going to get in on this future of gaming. Microsoft still wants to own some ownership in there. So when they see the Googles come in that don't have a $5 console that they want to sell you, it's like, oh my God, they're going to change our bread and butter that we've been living in for the last 15 years, 20 years. So I think that's kind of what that comment is. I think it was really blown up way out of proportion to what he actually meant it to be. But it makes sense. If you have if your business is making buggy whips and all of a sudden cars come out and there's no one buying buggy whips, you're like, what the hell? I put food on the table by selling these buggy whips. I don't like automobiles. They're crazy. They'll never
never
survive. Yeah, they're never gonna catch on. And Microsoft is really just trying to get ahead of that with the gaming industry.
Good point. Good point. Thanks for that, Lloyd. Duncan, so you want to get in? Do you have
okay, I'll get in here. Just going to echo what Lloyd was ended on there. I think this has just been blown up. This comment, I think, it's just been over-egged in the cloud gaming sort of space, because yes, Google and Amazon are on Microsoft's radar, but it is not just cloud gaming, it is the cloud space as a whole. And cloud gaming down the line is going to be a big, massive part. And we know that Amazon and Google will be a big, massive part of game streaming going forward in some sort of guise anyway. For me, this Activision deal for me from the Google sort of end was more about what they're actually taking away from Google, because Call of Duty is run on Google cloud services along with King as well. So I think this is not a big, massive, oh my God, this is taking over. I think some part of it is just trying to boost Azure down the line. But ultimately, Microsoft bought Activision for my phrase, which I ram down everybody's throats, is content is king. And you have the content, people will come to you. And Game Pass is showing that. And when you look at the Game Pass library as a whole, you compare it to Luna, you compare it to Stadia, and the crossover is absolutely massive beyond people's expectations. Plus, you have more games on Game Pass, and you've got the exclusives. It's just content, and some more content. For me, I don't see any more big acquisitions coming from Microsoft in the foreseeable future until this Activision deal has passed, because they don't want to shine any more torches onto that, because it's already kicking up a fuss. So I don't see any purchases until this is gone, but I do see them going down the line. And I've said it before and said again, Sega is the perfect purchase for people down the line, because it has PC and console and that absolutely masses of IP they have. There's so many games that Sega have made, they could bring them back into life. It's just class. But
just on Sega, they've closed they're out of the arcade business now as well, which is epoch changing from Sega's point of view. But they're now officially been bought out of their arcade side of their business, and obviously in Japan, that's still a massive thing, arcades. But yeah, so I think it's a company called Gigo or something like that now, and instantly all the Sega arcades, you'd think they'd keep the name, are going to be called Gigo arcades, not Sega arcades. Instantly they're going to rebrand it, everything. And Sega are just going to concentrate on their IP and developing stuff for other people and stuff like that. So yeah, sad time.
Yeah. How about let's check in with GTP real quick. For this, time is kind of running
time
out.
is of an essence, man.
Yeah,
look, I'll just recap
GTP.
it all, because everybody has been 100% spot on with the purchase. It's multifaceted. There's a lot of reasons for the purchase. the more IP you own, the less will leave Game Pass, as somebody else was mentioning. You know, content is king. It always will be. We see it with TV apps. That's something Clive was talking about. It's no good to have your TV app everywhere if there's no content on it for people to subscribe to. And we're kind of seeing that with Peacock and some other things as well right now too. And my own purchases. So content is going to be king. I think Microsoft concentrated on that before their cloud tech. They have a playable cloud tech. They have something that works, and it will, I'm sure it'll become something great in the future. They're definitely concentrated on their content, their talent, their studios, and building something that's going to be very hard to compete against. Competition is going to get super heavy in cloud when it comes to both tech and content, and Microsoft's definitely going for that content first. And besides that, they got to walk onto the playground and make one hell of a statement by spending that kind of money and saying, yeah, we're that serious about gaming, so let the next person step up and show us how serious you are. So big statement by Microsoft. As far as damaging, real quick, I know there's been a lot of speculation on that. I think it just means, you know, what everybody else was saying. It's market share too. When you're talking about damaging, you know, cloud does something that consoles could never do. If you weren't Sony, Nintendo, or Microsoft, you weren't making a console because you knew it would fail. No one was going to buy it. They already had their 3 main platforms. Cloud's changing that dramatically with the subscription base and many different places you'll be able to play. And I think Microsoft saw that coming years ago.
True. I just want to bring this up. I know we're out of time, so I'm not gonna ask everyone individually. So just hop on with your take here. But what does this mean? Again, GTP, like you were saying, this shows, right, they're serious and committed to just gaming as a whole. With this acquisition, $70 billion is nothing, you know, to joke around about, right? So what does this mean for the competitors, right? Do you see Google seeing this and saying, okay, wow, we gotta shell out some serious cash now if we want to compete, or Amazon like being like, okay, we need to, you know, put our foot on the pedal to get like Luna out to more places? Or what do you see happening with the competitors after this move? I'm just gonna open this up, and
I'll just say real quickly, before someone else jumps in, it depends on who you are and what your goals are. And I know people bring Google up on this a lot, but I gotta say, like, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I've had every single console, and I have the OLED Switch and the original, and I buy those because of the IP, the first party games only. I almost don't play anything else but Nintendo first party. They haven't competed in the gaming space other than against themselves in years. So like, Google or Amazon or any of them, especially with cloud, they can choose whether they want to step up, spend the kind of money on content and tech and compete directly, or they can go a completely other direction and create their own entire niche, their own entire community and games for people to play. It's really just depends on what their goal is going to be.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to hop on with your response to that? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you know, people kind of, I think often people take a very simplistic view and think, oh, okay, well, Microsoft have just spent 70 billion. Okay, your turn to spend 70 billion. That's not how it works. I think Microsoft are in a position, you know, they've made their decision, especially with Xbox. It's on an upward spiral. It's on an upward curve. It's a 20-year, you know, business that they're in terms of, you know, since Xbox sort of launched and all that kind of stuff. So making those kind of bets, it's still a massive bet, but it's a slightly more safer bet than if you're brand new to the, you know, to gaming, and you know, suddenly try and go out and make that bet. And the other thing, and it was mentioned partly, you know, I think GTP mentioned it, when one of the reasons it was said behind Stadia closing SG&E was that, in a way, you don't want to be a threat potentially in terms of games, when if we step away from, you know, developing our own games, it means that publishers are more likely to say, okay, we'll come to you then. You know, you get a better relationship with publishers than sort of, you know, cutting them out. And so there's a sort of that, you know, I don't think, you know, Google are looking at that thinking, no, what, you know, that's Microsoft's first purchase was 8 billion, and it's like, that's basically them saying to Google, that's how much it's going to cost you to even, you know, it's like a blind in poker. They go, there's you got to put 8 billion, and they're looking at it going, well, okay, we're going to play a slightly different game then. I think we're still in this game, but we're not playing it aggressively like you. We're playing a long, slow drip game on this one, and we want to make sure that the tech is in place, our library has been building, and we'll expand out, and everything, when we expand, everything kind of works. Whereas I think, you know, Microsoft were in the ideal position. Activision, as Helmuggy mentioned, were there for the picking, and I think only one company realistically could make that purchase potentially within the, you know, that could make use of it as well, and that was Microsoft, and it was an opportunity, and they had the means. So it was opportunity and means, and those two things came together perfectly, I think, for Microsoft, and they went in there, and it served a number of purposes, as people have mentioned, in terms of making a big statement, shoring up IP going forward. When they've just looked at the Netflix model. You know, we've seen all Marvel films that were on Netflix and now Disney, and thought, wait a minute, why are we, you know, licensing? We could get all that subscription. Hey, we've got all this content. Why don't we set up our own, you know, channel? And then suddenly all this content comes off, you know, Netflix. We're, you know, the company I work for, we're in a constant battle for IP, and for that reason. And people go, where's such and such program? You know, if it's not there, the customer's not there, they go to find it elsewhere, even if it was once there, you know, like The Office or whatever it was, or Friends or whatever. It's like, oh, where's it gone? And they'll just go to wherever it is. And I think, you know, Microsoft are looking at that model and going, look, the Netflix of gaming, we've seen how they've operated and how Netflix have been successful in that. We don't want to make the same mistakes when gaming becomes a full-on streaming thing that everybody has. We're going to follow what Netflix did, and we're going to shore up as much IP as we possibly can now. Not to say that we're going to stop for everybody have it, but it just saves you having to negotiate with the IP owners, and you can have it on your platform in perpetuity, rather than, okay, you can have it for a year, or you can have it for 6 months, or it's a negotiation, or, as you know, I think Lloyd mentioned, suddenly they up the price, the IP owners up the price because they've got the next big game, whatever. You know, they're shoring up the IP to make sure that there is not an issue, and that when games cloud streaming becomes mainstream, they've got it all there and they're ready to go. And, you know, and that's the game they're playing. They're looking at seeing what's happened in the TV industry and going, Netflix is the model to follow. That's what we're doing.
True. All right, for the sake of time, I'm so sorry, guys. Great discussion piece. I wish we had more time to get into this. I know a lot of you guys have more to say about the conversation piece, but yeah, gotta respect the time. But I appreciate you guys watching. I just want to give members a chance to just let you guys know what they do and where you can find them. So to get started, Duncan, sir, what do you do and where can people find you?
You can see me over at Creative Games. We've just launched a couple of wee channels. We're taking a leaf out from your book now, with Crowd Gaming Extreme. So it's interesting, and it's going to be a bit of fun.
Yeah, good stuff. As always, Duncan, it's good to have you on here. Let's go with Lloyd. Thank you for being here, man. Love your input on the discussion pieces, but let the people know what you guys do and where they can find you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a heck of a lot of fun and some good conversations. You can check out all the stuff we do over at nerdnest.tv. Of course, check out Stadia Cast, the show that was running the day that the name was made for Stadia, and we've been loving that platform ever since. Check out On Deck, our Steam Deck podcast that we put out every couple weeks over at nerdnest.tv. And I've been podcasting myself since 2005. You can check out some of those shows over at rez.tv, rezd.tv, including Nintendo Pulse, the longest running Nintendo podcast, which I just like to say because it really means nothing, but it sounds impressive. So I like saying that.
Yeah, always a big fan of you guys. Again, Stadia Cast, man, was here right for the longest time. You guys were one of the first content creators, cloud gaming content creators. So appreciate you being here, Lloyd. Thank you.
Thanks. A lot of fun.
For sure. How about you, Clive? What do you do? Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Clive Millenden. And every Monday night, 10 p.m. UK time, I host a Stadia Monday night chat where we go deep dive on all the Stadia news and views and reviews and all of that. So every Monday night, 10 p.m. UK time. And quickly, I just want to shout out as well, the Winter Community Championships are starting up in February with $3,000 in prize money. So if you like playing Stadia games, there is a chance to win a number of prizes. There's £100 in prizes each week. It's 5 weeks of competition as well. Anyway, and the first round is going to be a game at Wreckfest. The rules will come out soon, but well worth participating in. Check out Twitter and stuff like that. But the Winter Community Championships, $3,000 of prizes up for grabs. First round starts next week, and it's Wreckfest, and the rules for that will be coming out very, very shortly. But check that out. Check around for that.
That's awesome. It's huge prize money to be given away. So definitely make sure you check that out. And again, I love your Monday night shows, man. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, do very high production quality there. So Clive, good to have you on, man.
It's a great, good discussion, guys, as well. Good, enjoyed it.
For sure. GTP, sir, do you want to tell the people what you do and where they can find you?
Yeah, man, Game Tech Planet on YouTube and Twitter. A little bit of Discord. Sorry, I had something going on. My son was right there. But anyways, appreciate everybody's patience today. The storm and stuff got insane. I think we're all back to normal. Hopefully next week we'll be all good. So sorry about that. But yeah, check me out, Game Tech Planet, YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here and sticking around with all that.
Oh yeah, man. It is what it is, man. I'm gonna fall asleep soon after today's shoveling stuff. I gotta say too, a fan of On Deck, because Steam Deck is one of my most anticipated devices this year. Be covering that on the channel. So yeah, On Deck is something I try to catch when I can. But I love what you guys do with that over there.
Great show.
Thanks.
For sure. Monkey, do you want to plug anything? Let the people know what's going on.
Yeah, thank you. I would just like to take this opportunity while I'm here and everyone can see me, is just to say thank you for all the support from everyone throughout what's been going on in my personal life recently. We're going back at it full time now. So since we have been, check out my latest video on all the big upcoming games for February and where you can play them in the cloud. You might pick up something you've not seen yet, and it might entice you. Thank you once again, everyone, for watching every week. It's superb, and I'm happy to be back.
Good to have you back, man. I know recovery has been, kind of difficult, but good to see you doing well and sitting through a 2-hour show. So good to have you back. Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys watching.
Stop lying, yes.
Appreciate you guys watching. This is going to air in audio form afterwards, and definitely make sure you give all these guys a look. Awesome content creators here. We'll catch you guys next week. Till next time, peace out, y'all.